Center for Transforming Communities partnered with the City of Memphis to implement the Community Coalition program. This program assisted 13 agencies in Binghampton and Orange Mound and built their capacity for project planning and resident engagement. This has resulted into high-impact projects for these neighborhoods and the surrounding areas. As you see here, this is a wonderful Welcome to Binghampton sign that was created by the young people at Carpenter Arts Garden. And this is a great example of what the program was about in terms of, in their case, engaging young people and arts engagement to beautify a major anchor in the neighborhood.
My name is Monteric and I work for the Carpenter Art Garden. Down here we're making a wall. This is Welcome to Binghampton. With different towns that we made and letters that we made. Being in the art garden is good, special, I think, to me, because they do different arts and I like doing art.
Through the CCP grant, that allows us to employ artists who can help lead this project. It helps to make sure that it's a quality project since it's going to be down there long term. I mean, I hope the sign's down here forever, and you don't want to skimp or cut corners or do less than just because you're a nonprofit.
The Community Coalition program was a wonderful initiative that was spearheaded by the Memphis 3.0 program. This program allowed intentionality of two of the communities that were mentioned in the 3.0 program with Binghampton and Orange Mound.
CTC is an organization that really support neighborhood leaders and institutions in creating like meaningful impact to address like the challenges in individual neighborhoods. We believe that the folks who are closest to the challenges know best. And so I think that we were tapped because we understand that important fact.
We're given a grant so that we can continue to serve the community here as far as giving out food. I know that we normally partner up with the Memphis Food Bank, but with that grant, we're actually going to cater our own food pantries in the future. So that money is going to be used to go and buy even more produce that we can contribute to the community outside of the Memphis Food Bank.
Angela Barksdale with Melrose Center for Cultural Enrichment. She has done several projects, particularly at this park where she brought wrestling to Orange Mound Park. And so from the various experiences that she's created here in Orange Mound, part of what she wanted to do was to create a website to kind of capture that narrative and impact.
Because this is something that's never been done. And I normally tend to think outside the box, and this is way outside the box. So I know Orange Mound has a lot of wrestling fans, so why not bring it to Orange Mound?
Mike and Karen Menace, the leaders of Landmark, it's always a joy to be in their space. So much like wealth of information, just, you know, beyond urban farming. They have a jobs program for like young people to pay them to not just learn about like urban farming, but also to understand like wealth building and earning money for a skill or knowledge that you have.
The Landmark Youth Urban Farm Training Program teaches gardening. And while learning gardening, there are three tantamount aspects of character development that is brought about. Number one is discipline. The other is teamwork. And the third is self-reliance, which those three character traits can be utilized in any endeavor they choose to make their lives work. That's what we give them.
First reason why I like coming to Landmark because we get to plant different type of seeds like watermelons, peas, greens, and other type of stuff. And I like making money from this.
Young Actors Guild, under the leadership of Christy and Sabrina, ended up purchasing a property that I think was like a former bank in Orange Mound, and wanted to turn it into the Harriet's Performing Arts Center. They have a program that's targeted, for young people and to expose them to different forms of dance, like ballet, hip hop.
The building is named the Harriet Performing Arts Center after Harriet Tubman. And so our job here at the Harriet Performing Arts Center is to lead youth to freedom through the arts. We really like the narrative about the Community Coalition. Speaking with Mr. Paul Young, Ms. Joyce Cox about the opportunity to connect the community to arts organizations and to nonprofit organizations and community organizations, and finding out a way that we can collaborate together to bring resources to the community, it was really right up our alley.
The historic Orange Mound Heritage and Preservation Society focused on the 1890 project. Not too far from here, the Detrick family had several black enslaved individuals.
This is the unveiling of a historical marker that is highlighting those who were enslaved on the Detrick plantation back in the 1800s.
Mary Mitchell and Dr. Cynthia Sadler wanted to make sure that the story of those enslaved individuals were told.
There's so many areas here in Memphis and everywhere around the country where those people, African American descent, have died and suffered and gone through so many things and left memories that no one knows about because they're hidden. But something like this is giving, restoring, in a sense, their worth, because they were the reasons that we're here today.
I actually got a chance to know Victoria before I came to CTC while I was at the University of Memphis working. Even back then, I saw like the power and the need for the work that like Tone was doing. When I came to CTC and saw that they were one of the grantees, I was like, oh, cool.
So the Community Coalition was a huge opportunity for us, and we got to use those funds to engage Orange Mound current residents and a stakeholder group to help us think through how this space better serves the neighborhood and how the space across the street in the future will best serve the neighborhood, and how our folks can take active ownership opportunities in this space, not just be visitors or bystanders, but be owners of the space across the street. That's the future of Tone. That's the future of Memphis. That's the future of Orange Mound. This beautiful, blighted property will be a hub for Black innovation, where Black creatives, Black small business owners, entrepreneurs, folks that thought leaders in tech can come, collaborate, and work on solutions that are for this neighborhood, that are for Memphis, that are for Black folks in general, that are working to tell stories.
Red Zone and NHO were two grantees that were under the leadership of Howard Eddings. And those two organizations focus on like neighborhood and youth development. They were one of the organizations that really had to make a pivot, where I know initially when COVID hit, they created like a youth space where they had staff, because they noticed it was a need in the community where young people may not have had reliable internet at home. And so there was a real barrier for families to be able to do like schoolwork, and it was prior to like the school district providing like devices. And so they opened up their space and provided like staff for a period of time to allow families to be able to drop their kids off, to be able to go to school like there, which was really cool.
Most of what I want to do, the biggest thing I want to do is build this building right here. This is a 38,000 square foot facility. We call it the Opportunity Zone, to create this space where people in Orange Mound can come, hang out, access resources, access information. It will be a comprehensive center designed to meet the whole needs of men, women, boys, and girls who live in this community.
Blue City Cultural Center, Yana Frazier, she had one of those projects as well that really had to like shift related to COVID. And it really utilized all the time to be able to make the shift too. And I was really proud of her in being resilient
We had to rethink about how we were going to do the programming, because at first we were going to go into Melrose, go into the school, work with the young people. That didn't happen.
She stuck to it and finally ended up partnering with the Memphis Ambassadors Program with the City of Memphis, and also a Toastmasters Club in Orange Mound. And so she ended up getting a group of young people together to train them on public speaking.
And that was to help them to be able to speak about some issues that they have about their own community, their own area.
The Speak Up program, it was definitely during the pandemic, so we were doing Zoom calls.
So then they become, with our bigger program called Story Places, that they become tour guides, and that they can see that using the arts, talking about what they like, that they are able to turn it into a job. They can become their own tour guides. They can promote Memphis, Tennessee.
I actually did have the opportunity of leading a tour in Orange Mound. I was the tour guide. And the fun thing about that was the people that I worked with who were in the program with me doing the Blue City Culture Orange Mound tour, we did like little skits. So we actually went to Melrose, and we had like 3 different skits inside the building. So it made it not just like a boring old tour. No, we went inside the building and we showed them. We went to the new Melrose, and we also went to the old Melrose, so them like also where more amazing people came from. So it was actually really fun to do that.
I think that each one of our organizations rose to the challenge and was able to pivot their programming to support the needs of their community, especially thinking about COVID-19.
Our focal point is to be able to execute 4 community-based projects a year. So we think in terms of quarters. So using the funds to be able to offset, expenses for quarterly projects. And so, COVID hit, and we ended up doing a responsive project to deliver care packages. And so we were able to canvass the streets and get word out that we were looking to deliver care packages to anyone that was interested, and we had over 600 people respond and show interest. And so it was just a really great capacity building effort for us to be able to get care packages to families that weren't in our network before COVID and they had a need.
Community Coalition program had 10 organizations in Orange Mound and 3 right here in Binghampton. And 2 of the 3 braced, which is community development arm of First Baptist Church on Broad. For their project, they focused on creating a computer lab for their after-school program.
Our academic lab has been a tremendous impact on our youth as well as others in our community. Even during this COVID season, we've had a program for COVID assistance. I reached out to CCP to make sure that that was one of the things that we could do to be able to utilize the computers for, because we understand that there's a need. We understand that, a lot of people do not have access to technology. So we wanted to be able to assist the community.
I really love the fact that all of our organizations had ingenuity and impact and were able to shift and pivot and do some wonderful programming through the Community Coalition.
It really was encouraging to me to be a partner with the grantees to see how they really evolve not only their work, but also leadership, because we all were like stretched during that time period.
The Center for Transforming Communities was very accepting and open to my idea, and they are working closely with me to help me utilize and garner the support from other agencies that I need.
Being a part of the Community Coalition has been awesome for us. One, it allowed us to really have a personal impact with the young people.
It's awesome that they've had an opportunity to, these young artists, do a full-blown funded, large-scale art project that'll be in the neighborhood forever.
The grant itself was foundational in terms of being able to structure what needed to be done and to provide the financial support and some oversight. Without that financial support, sometimes things won't take place.
It is important for us to receive that type of funds because we put everything we get back into the community. So we choose communities that are underserved, that do not have the resources, so we feel as if our mission is to actually provide some of those necessities for communities that cannot provide for themselves.